All over the world, you'll find remote places home to seemingly random boulders. Huge rocks, often sitting by themselves in the middle of nowhere. And some of them, with a little bit of risk and concentration, you can climb to the top of. But the one that we're heading to right now is different, because it's actually got a set of steps carved right into it. Nobody knows who carved them or when, and there's even dispute as to which county it belongs to. And so in this video, we're going to be travelling through some farmland here, just south of a place called Bentham in North Yorkshire. We're going to find it, hopefully at least. We're going to climb to the top of it and try and unpack some of the various mysteries that surround this place. So come along with me and let's go and check it out. Now the place that we're heading to is called the Great Stone of Fourstones. And it's the name that kind of presents us with mystery number one. Because you might well be picturing some sort of huge boulder and three other maybe smaller ones to accompany it. But you'll see when we get there that there's only one. So where are the other three? Did they ever exist? Or was the name just created as one big joke? Well, as usual, there's a number of stories that have been passed along through time to try and explain these unknowns. The most common one surrounding these three possibly missing stones is that they were broken up long ago and used for sharpening scythes. I suppose it's plausible. I've seen this one repeated so many times. I can only guess that from wherever it started, every time this story's been retold and place revisited, that seems to be the one that's just copied and repeated. And I don't know enough, I say enough, I don't know anything about scythe sharpening or what period of time that would have extended to and from, but I suppose it must be plausible. Hopefully we're going the right way here. This is one of those public rights of way that passes through a lot of private land, which always makes for an interesting and unpredictable journey. Usually a fun one, so long as we don't pass a gate that has a sign on saying bull in field. At least we can see here, we're definitely going the right way. Here's the route I'm following, by the way. I started about 10 minutes ago. I've cut out the residential areas, and according to this, we're kind of just passing straight through the middle of a few fields. Let's see how that goes. Are these friendly sheep? Or are these rams? That big chunky one looks like a fella, doesn't he? Hello. You're not gonna murder me, are you? No food. Empty-handed, sorry. Very friendly. Ordinarily, at least in my recent experience, most sheep don't even want to come close to you. So they must be used to passers-by. Either that, or I just resemble the farmer a bit and they think I got some food. Okay, so the name, the Great Stone of Fourstones. Sometimes just referred to as the Big Stone, which kind of seems to make more sense, but it's not quite as grand, is it? Other theories with regards to what happened to the remaining stones is maybe they were broken up and used for construction, or maybe even sunken into the land, into the peat around there. But seemingly, no written records, at least that we've discovered so far, to explain or verify any of these ideas. I was not expecting t-shirt weather when I left home this morning. It's about 14 degrees, and we are early in November, but still. Now, I mentioned in the intro that these rocks, at least some of them, are what's called glacial erratics. Now, some of you will know what these are, some of you may not. You could have a good guess from the name, it's fairly descriptive. And basically, long story short, they've been moved from one place to another by glaciers, sometimes very long distances. Glaciers basically being huge sheets of very slow moving ice. There are a couple of different types, and they form over multiple years as a result of gradually falling and compressing snow. And at the bottom of all this snow, eventually you get a thick layer of ice. In the case of alpine glaciers, you can imagine a huge sheet of ice making its way very slowly downhill and eroding, carving away the ground underneath it, and maybe even either side. And sometimes it results in boulders basically hitchhiking their way to a new home. We're not going into this field, but I just want to check what that sign is. Just curious. Sheep grazing, okay. More of a warning for dog owners. Yeah, so these erratics, there's a good chance you'll have seen some. They're not always huge rocks. You might, for example, see a patch of rocks that are not particularly big, but they don't match the environment around you. We got a friendly horse. Friendly? A little bit shy. Oops, sorry. Got nothing to offer him, so he's not too interested. Yeah, sometimes it's obvious. You'll see a type of rock that just looks like nothing else around. But sometimes they're easily overlooked as well. Passing through somebody's farmland, basically. If you see a cut in the footage, I'm just probably cutting out somebody's private space or house. But I can see the gate down there, and I can hear some sheep in here. Now, before we had modern scientific understandings of this phenomenon, there were a few different theories, explanations that humans held in the past. And one of them, from the early 1800s, was that they were deposited as the result of a biblical flood. Going back further, we kind of get into more traditional folklore territory, legends, that sort of thing. And the story attached to this particular place, to the Great Stone, is that it was dropped by the devil on his way to construct the nearby Devil's Bridge at Kirkby Lonsdale. A bridge named confusingly not because of the various accidents and even deaths that have taken place as a result of people jumping in summertime down into the river below. In fact, that's been such an issue that it's now illegal to jump from there. But that's a story for a different video. We're going to travel there and have a look at that in future. Oh, it nearly caught me out. Classic double bluff. Ooh. A bit more boggy here. Okay, once again, we are presented with a wide open field. So we're sort of going somewhere over that way, roughly. Haven't even got lost yet. I tell a lie, actually, before I started filming, I did get a little bit lost within the first 5 minutes of the day. But since then, I've been doing pretty well. Now, as well as having early tales of folklore attached to it, many of these kind of natural points of interest have been used by humans for more practical purposes. And we came across this in another video on this channel quite a few months ago now, when I went to visit the Hitching Stone, which I think was in West Yorkshire. That's not where I'm crossing, surely. Oh no. No, we're going through through this wall somehow first. Yeah, the Hitching Stone had similar practical uses. A meeting place, for example. Simple but effective. You can't miss it, and you're going to know where I mean if I say, let's meet by that huge rock up on the moors. And the Great Stone, at least so it's said, it's kind of hard to verify some of these claims, but it's very likely, was used in a similar way. Where is this crossing? Something doesn't seem quite right. Oh. We're not crossing at all, we're going straight up. By the way, if there's a little bit of what appears to be a smudge on the screen on me right now, because I've got a little bit of condensation on my lens, which annoyingly I can't get rid of because it's inside. I'm not sure what to do about it, so I've turned the camera around. The smudge will be on me, not on the countryside views. Hopefully it's not too annoying though. Looks like we're going to be passing around the side of another farmhouse. Now, another big use of these huge rocks was for forming boundary markers. And this is where the facts get a little bit murky from my perspective. Let's make our way past this farmhouse and then I'll tell you why. I do realise the word outside was scribbled out there, but I think there is a stile up here. I assume that the legal right-of-way goes straight through their garden, and I can understand if it's a busy footpath, you might want to kind of divert people around, if possible. Unfortunately, or maybe they added it, there are two stiles that mean you can skip their garden pretty much entirely. More often than not, these rights-of-way that pass through properties are not quite as close quarters as that. You might be passing through a big driveway or just kind of around the back of the house, but that one went right across their kind of lounge window. One of those things though that just comes with owning countryside property in this country sometimes. Now, where were we? What was I talking about? We've covered the name, the glacial erratics. The boundary markers. Yeah, it seems to be quite a common thing, common phenomenon. And thinking about it, it's very logical. In the same way that they were used for meeting places, they're huge, immovable objects, easily recognizable, and so they make perfect sense for kind of delineating. Is that the right word? Now that I've said it, I don't think I know what that means. Marking land boundaries, let's go with that. Now this one's so big, I at least can see it from here. It will be a bit far away for this lens, but you might see, well, I assume that's it. I'm going to look a bit silly if it's not. There's a big mound sticking out of the horizon. Now this is the part where I might make some new enemies. Because if you ask a lot of people, is the Great Stone in Yorkshire or Lancashire, they'll tell you with confidence it's in Yorkshire. But if you dig a bit further, some people will tell you, oh, hang on a minute, no. It's half in Yorkshire, half in Lancashire. And I tried my best to find historical maps of boundaries, and from what I saw at least, it's half in half. But the records that I did find that showed this weren't really enough for me to feel super confident about it. So whilst it looks to kind of sit right in the middle of the boundary, living in both counties at the same time, I'm going to have to sit on the fence on this one, unfortunately. Okay, I've almost gone the wrong way. There is a footpath that goes down there, sort of through this way, but it takes us to the road and eventually back to the Great Stone. But we want to go in this direction. I think we kind of snake along that dry stone wall over there. Identifying local boundaries is a problem I've come across before and I've never quite solved it. I don't know if anybody knows. If you do, please help me. Where is the definitive source to go for these smaller kind of parish boundaries, county boundaries? I've looked around and never managed to find one definitive source. Maybe they are on OS maps and I'm just looking for the wrong symbol, but I've just not managed to identify them. This is the path, is it? This looks like this looks like a trap. Looks a bit boggy. You can probably see that glistening bog. Is there a better way around? What's that? I was kind of expecting this. It kind of looks dry over there, but if I kind of flatten these down. Okay, that kind of worked. We've got a fair bit of distance left to go though. Oh, this looks bad. I'm going to try and be optimistic because we're going uphill after this bit. So if I can get around this part without swimming, I've got to walk back through all of this as well. Okay. Whoa. Is that it? Are we out of it? Oh, full sun as well. Okay, this is a bit better. I'm really sorry if there is a lot of marks on the footage here. I'm gonna have to try and dry my camera out somehow. It's supposed to be waterproof, so there shouldn't be any moisture inside it. Okay, we are approaching our target, the Great Stone. Now, the greatest mystery of all surrounding this place surely has to be who carved the steps and when did they do it? And this is one question that nobody seems to have an answer for, but we're going to try and figure something out today. And this is where I need to call on your help, the collective brain power of the YouTube audience. Because I'm hoping that maybe if we get a good look at the steps, we might be able to check out how worn down they are and maybe come up with a bit of a guess as to how long they've been there. We'll have a good look around it as well for carvings and engravings, see if we can find any clues. And of course, we're going to climb to the top and count the steps. And that part's more important than it probably sounds, because I've found conflicting records. There are either 13 or 14. And we're going to answer that question once and for all right now. All right, here we go. Pretty solid set of stairs actually. And we can already see some of these very either heavily worn down or not strictly carved with depth in the beginning. Now, before we head up, let's have a look around for any interesting carvings. There are plenty. Oh, that one's quite nice. What does that say? Oh, Metcalf, maybe? Everything looks to be pretty recent. 2019. Don't know if I'd want to climb this on a wet day, but let's give it a go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 14. Some of these pretty beefy as well. Now you can see why this place would have been a good meeting spot. Not just back in the day, but these days as well. And you can also see why over the years, scientists became curious to find an explanation for how things like this got here. And now, I guess we know. What we might never know though is who did carve these or when. Some of them do have engravings into the actual steps. TJL on that one. So it looks like a little bit of lichen in there. There is engravings in actually all of them, it looks like. AC. So I guess these have all been done since. People over the years, maybe in the early years, wanted to claim a step. What do you reckon though? How old do they look? If I'd have done that job, I definitely would have left my mark here, probably on this wall. Surely you wouldn't put in all that work, probably multiple people, let's be real, and not pop a name in or an initial. I think you'd have to scan the entire thing to really analyse all of these. To the best of my knowledge, nobody's done it yet, and I don't think I've got time to do it today. I don't know how you do it. You'd have to get like a 3D scan, a LiDAR scan maybe, and then see if there are any with the appearance of being much older than the rest. So what do you think? Have you got any ideas? That might be a mystery that is never to be solved. Kind of in best guess territory, I think. Definitely worth a visit though, and I'd say that was a pretty good route, apart from the kind of wet parts. I'm going to give it a 4-star. This is my own route I've created on OS Maps. These will all be available in the members area on YouTube soon, along with a map of all the places I've been to recently. Definitely worth a visit though, and the plus side with this one, which I just realised recently, is that if you want to, you can just drive to the roadside and park up here. I'm walking over as one last thing because I noticed there's an information board down there, and I'm curious to know what it says. If you're wondering why I didn't do a full 360 of the rock, by the way, it's because there was somebody climbing there who I don't think wanted to be on camera. And I know we're in public, but I don't really like to just shove unwilling participants into my YouTube videos without their permission. Okay, what have we got? Any final clues we can get? What's this? Bentham toposcope. Toposcope is a new word for me. Stunning panorama encompasses the 3 counties of Cumbria, Lancashire, Cumbria as well. To the left is the big stone, 4 metres high, circumference of 27 metres. Probably a glacial erratic, but legend has it, well, yeah. Legend has it that it is a small part of the debris hurled by the giant Finn McCool. Finn McCool? Okay, there's a giant story. Maybe I got the folklore wrong, or there's a couple of stories. By the giant Finn McCool across the Irish Sea in a fit of anger. That's one story I didn't find. I was about to say, Finn McCool doesn't sound like the name of a devilish character. Okay, well there we go. North Yorkshire ahead of us. Lancashire behind us, I think, and Cumbria would be... Wait, where's Cumbria? That way? I need to check the map. I'm going to walk back to Bentham now. That's not my car, unfortunately. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I do hope as well the screen lens smudge hasn't been too annoying. I'm going to do my best to fix that for next time because I can see it right now in the lens. If you know something about the Great Stone or the Big Stone that I haven't mentioned, please let us know as always in the comments. Massive thank you for watching this video, helping support the channel and allowing me to travel to all these new places. I've never been here before and it's a really cool place to see. I've been doing lots of research over the last several weeks now to try and find new stories, new locations to show you, and I've got plenty of good ones on the way. So fingers crossed, I'll see you next time.